Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 20-Minute Mode podcast. I've got someone very special with me today. We've got Mahendra Mane, who is a senior sales solution consultant at Vonage. He's got a lot of industry experience in terms of communication, and he's got a lot of thoughts on where the customer support space is heading in the coming years. So, without further ado, I'll just ask Mahendra to give us a brief intro on his role, the kind of brilliant work they're doing at Vonage, and just acquaint us with this particular role. So, welcome to the show, Mahendra. And could you tell us a little bit more about your role?
Sure. Hi, Jude. Thank you. Hey, guys. My name is Mahendra, and I'm leading the customer solutions team in Southeast Asia for Vonage. So, to give you a bit of background about Vonage, Vonage is a global leader in the CPAAS space that helps to enable next generation communications that are more flexible, intelligent, and personal, empowering our customers to do what is next and stay ahead of the game. So, and obviously, as I said, I'm leading a team of architects in the region here and helping customers to deliver the solutions.
What do you think, in the coming years, what is the role of, say, voice bots and, chatbots? How are they helping this particular space?
Sure. So, ideally, right, what we see today in the customer service, right, most of the time it is devoted to of agents to do manual search, okay, with valued customer interactions at a minimal 25% only. So AI, chatbots, and automation, right? These technologies help free up the agent's time from these routine tier 1 support requests so that they can focus more on the complex tasks. So now, as we have seen, right, we see automation all around us today. So from something like ordering pizzas, checking your luggage at the airport, booking a hotel room, or even right to booking a doctor's appointment. So everywhere we see automation. So the customer service industry is no exception to this. Like what experts project is that 85% of the customer interactions will be handled without a need of a human agent. So that's the prediction from the experts. And the key advantages of chatbots and voice bots that we see, right, is they help to answer questions faster and with accuracy. So again, there are not too many variations around that. Obviously, this helps the agents to get the job done faster while reducing support costs. Now, building a virtual assistant that answers the customer's questions directly on the front end and provide the agents with information and resources that they need on the back end. This is like phenomenal, right? Because it helps the customer service experience it helps enhance the customer service experience. Now, creating a complete end-to-end customer service with AI, from improvements in loyalty and brand reputations to new work streams. So these are the kind of values that customers get by deploying AI bots and obviously voice bots. So if you ask me, right, real-time self-service and AI assistance in customer service will bring huge opportunities to brands. In the coming year.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, it was a very interesting point you stressed on, in terms of empowering both the support agent to pick up, higher priority issues, and it also empowers the customer at the other end of the spectrum, right, with greater self-service options, and he doesn't have to waste time going through the entire customer support cycle just to get a very easy answer to a very solvable problem. I wanted to sort of, also now, since you spoke about it, go on to the other side of things, which is from the customer's point of view. Now, almost every brand has a very digital first approach today. Again, what do you call? Support is automated. You get quick answers when it is a delightful experience. Now, how should brands, or what do brands do to make, every interaction with their customer a lot more than just a transactional interaction? And for a brand, how do you create that sense of community with every customer experience touch point? What are your thoughts on that, Mahendra?
Absolutely. So see, I think you are spot on that, right? So what we see today is that there are 3 key limits of transactional relationships. Like obviously, like the first being they don't recognize the whole person.
Hmm.
Okay. Second is they divide rather than unify. Okay. And third is they ignore almost all outside impacts and benefits beyond the transaction. So there's no variation,
Hmm.
right, around that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So community is key to purposeful customer experience, right? Obviously, communities thrive on the opposite of transactional relationship because it's more collaborative in the nature
And emotional. Yeah.
and emotional. So by interacting in a community, people feel more of a common bond. They
Yeah.
feel closer to others rather than further away. So they share more of themselves and learn more from about others. Okay. So a space is created for relationships to deepen and develop over time. Community is the key to have purposeful customer experience. Like, communities thrive on the opposite of transactional relationships, right? Because it is more collaborative in nature.
Yeah.
So by interacting in a community, people feel a more common bond. That's what we have seen. Okay, so they feel closer to others rather than further away. So they share more of themselves and learn more about others as well. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so a space is created for relationships to deepen and develop. So that's what a community brings, right, on the table. So there are small things that companies need to do. For example, how do you think we are doing? It's a very simple question that can be asked,
Yeah.
which is a collaborative act. And when this happens in a community with a genuine intent, it has massive impact on the customers.
Yeah.
So small step these like these, right, are surprisingly significant because of the change in the ground rules. They create customer experiences that are not transactional. They create a new relationship with the customer. And obviously when these relationship over the time, they keep on building, and that's what will make or break the future of the brand, in short.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. I think customers are also used to a quicker resolution time for most queries these days.
Yep. Correct.
How does a brand now manage expectations? Is that a problem brands face today when dealing with customer experience, having to manage really high expectations and at the same time deliver a kind of consistent quality of service on almost multiple channels?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now, as we see, like as we discussed, right? The market, the needs of the market, and the needs of the consumers have increased a lot. So, to manage high user expectations and deliver a consistent quality, right, of service, brands have to focus on few key important areas. So, like some of them, firstly, you see creating or solving customer problems,
Hmm.
creatively solving customer problems. Now, what this means is like over 80% of customers have churned because they experience bad customer service. Like obviously, it also applies to me. There are certain companies where when I have interacted with, if the customer I don't like the customer service, I've stopped using them.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so that's why you must thrive on solving problems for your customers and make it as a central part of your support. So that's critical factor that brands need to keep in mind. Okay. Now, secondly, it's response times. Now, 66% of people believe that valuing their time is the most important thing in any online customer journey.
Hmm.
Okay. So resolving customer queries as quickly as possible is a cornerstone of good customer service. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think this is applicable when we go and we purchase any products as well, right? So
Yeah.
that's why keeping those responses quick are important. Now, the third very important point is personalizing the service. Okay, so 40%, almost like 40% of customers say that they want better human service. That means they want to feel like they're being treated like a human.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, rather than just a ticket number. Because,
And not a ticket. Yeah.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Because what many systems do is when you call them, they just create a ticket and send it to you. So
Yeah.
that's not a good CX. So they want to feel as they're being treated as human and more personal touch as well. Okay, so they get angry when they're treated like an individual person,
Yeah.
receiving very like boilerplate responses,
Templates.
or
Yeah. And
or being treated like a tennis ball.
yeah. And I think this makes the job of the human agent a lot more difficult because by the time they get to the human agent, they're really, really mad or the problem has sort of escalated in their head.
Correct.
And
So customers actually want to interact with a person, not a company. That's what they want, right? They want to interact with someone who's lively. So although a company is also run by a person.
Yeah.
That's the feeling that they want. So that is why, you see, right, many businesses, what they do is they send gifts to their customers on their birthday. This is just to bring that personal touch. The next point would be like, focus on the focus support on the customers. Now, many brands, obviously, they're more focused on their products than their customers.
Yeah.
Now, getting that attention of customers, because customers are the integral part of the business, right? Because they help you grow, and they come before the products or profit. So you have to be very customer centric in terms of your support, treating them like they are center of your world, because that kind of attention is what customers today are requesting for.
Looking for, yeah.
The next point would be, obviously actively listening to customers. So if you have a mechanism to, receive feedbacks from your customers, doing like those CSAT surveys, and also you have to actively keep on knowing the needs of your customers and evolving over time. So actively listening to what your customers need from you. And obviously the last point would be to proactively help people. Obviously, everyone likes brands who go the extra mile, right, in terms of support.
Yeah, and check up on you before you go to them with a problem.
Absolutely. So that proactively helpful support is something which, again, makes the CX go to the next level and enhance the customer's experience with your brand.
Interesting. I mean, I really like the data points, and I really like this one line that you mentioned, that customers want to interact with people and not just companies. I think that sort of nails a huge philosophical problem in the way people look at customer service and experience. On the same tangent, I just wanted to know, people want to interact with other people who are empathetic, people who understand them. What is the reception in general for, say, voice or chatbots been like from a customer's point of view? Do they still see that as just one hoop they need to jump through to get to a customer agent, a human agent, or has the reception been a lot better?
No, I think you are spot on, right? Now, as I mentioned in my earlier point, right, now customers don't want to talk to someone to get their problem solved. So if it happens self-service, they are more than happy, because ultimately the goal is you have a problem and you want to get it solved, okay, as quickly as possible. So, in terms of statistics, what I shared earlier, 81% of the customers, right, want to have the issues resolved by themselves before even talking to a live representative. Okay. And like 71% already want the ability to solve customer issues on their own without talking, without even having to go through an agent. So they are more and more, the companies are getting receptive to have conversations with bots or with automation platforms, okay, to resolve the issues.
Yeah.
And we have already seen a growing trend around this within our customers.
What are the best practices when you're, trying to find the right fit for a kind of a automated bot solution for a brand?
Yeah. So I think firstly, right, choosing an AI-driven chat solution, it's not an easy task at all, because it has so many factors that the business needs to consider before finding a one, or before choosing a platform. So I'll just talk about few of those areas that these brands need to know or need to focus on before deciding on a solution. So one of the first consideration is, what kind of bot does the company need, or the brand needs? So like something like, do they need a master bot? Do they need a one-off bot, or do they need a bot platform? Now, obviously there are questions on what is the difference between three, right? Like a master bot is where you have one central chat bot that users reach for regardless of any kind of questions they have. So you just have one bot. And this is very similar like to an hotel concierge, right? That you go and any query you have, you ask the concierge, that can be related to your dinner, your tickets, or any other stuff that you have related to hotel, right? Yeah. And they help you. So that's more like a master bot. Now, singular bot is something which, based on your use case, you just built one bot, okay? And it is just answering those questions. So if you have multiple use cases, you just build 3 different bots, and these are operating separately. They are not working in tandem. So mostly you see in a Q&A based bot use case, right? These kind of solutions are used. And lastly, obviously, you have to choose a bot platform where you have one solution that teams in organizations can use to create multiple of bots. So this is more of a toolkit approach where your IT can pick one platform, and then obviously it has many advantages that you can have like one team managing it for you, and obviously from a support perspective, from a change perspective, it makes more sense. So you also have more control when you go to a bot platform. So
Yeah.
that's one consideration. Second would be like, obviously, your NLP considerations, like the the natural language processing. What kind of language you need over there, or what kind of industry vertical are you using? What kind of responses you need to give based on what queries the consumers ask. So this is very important because there are many bot companies today in the market, but they are not focused on certain verticals, or they cannot provide responses that your business would need.
Yeah.
So that's a very important consideration that you have to do. Obviously, the third very important point is, do you want to have a conversational based experience for your consumers, or do you want a scripted based AI based conversation? So like, when you talk to a Q&A bot, you have to ask certain specific questions and then it answers it. Anything other than that, it doesn't know.
Yeah.
This is where conversational is different, right? Because it makes you more natural language guide. It is more human-like kind of conversation.
More engaging. Yeah.
More engaging with the.
Yeah.
So that's one key area that need to be focused on. Obviously, the next one being the user personalization. So when I say user personalization, as in a organization can have different consumers reaching out to them. So one can be VIP, one can just be a normal customer. They might have they might have purchased different products. So you don't want to give one canned response to every of these users, right? It has to be more personal. And this is what is important when you're also choosing your workflows with a chatbot. The fifth important point is also like, understanding the AI learning and analytics. Now, this is very crucial because you are over the customer experience, right? Your bot has to have a journey on how it is going to learn, how it is going to evolve over time based on what your customers need. So having that learning experience and having those analytics of that platform is very important for the success of your brand, and for also, to enhance your customer experience. So that's a key area that needs to be focused on as well. The next would be obviously the different channels and the deployment models. Obviously, now there are so many channels that consumers use, right? Like, and depending on markets, there are different channels being used. So, for example, you see in Singapore or in India, WhatsApp is a predominantly used social channel. But if you go to Philippines, they use Viber. In some countries, it is Line. Some countries, it is Kakao Talk. So you have to understand what kind of channels and what you would need in it, and how you would deploy those channels as well. Okay, so and the next point would be obviously, to understand your detailed use case and the project support as well. What kind of use case are you deploying it for? And then what kind of support you need, or the project support or the deployment support you need for that solution. So you see, there are so many factors that these companies need to cater for when selecting a AI bot or a company which they are going to deploy with. So, but obviously, one key aspect is, if you are thinking of deploying one of these solutions, you should have a deeper understanding of the digital workspace landscape and evaluate vendors based on how they will align with your vision of digital workspace. Now, that is crucial in that thing. And this is where, Vonage and Volup, we are experts in providing this mature chatbot platform that can help customers to provide the right solution that meets their need. So we can customize the solution based on what their digital workspace need is.
I think thank you so much for that. It was a very in detail, and I think it's a very, very clear answer to what the best practices are. I was like, for people who are listening, this is the point where you take notes. I think Mahendra, I'm really enjoying this conversation, and I think we can go on for a long while. But in the interest of time, coming to one final question. We've spoken a lot about personalization and customers wanting to, talk to people and not bots. I mean, bots in the traditional sense, or in the sense that, it's a template response that are not conversation oriented. So, given that, idea, is personalization and scalability still at odds? Is that you can achieve one but not the other? What's happening with? Can you have personalized, delightful customer experience at scale today?
Yeah. So now, in a highly competitive environment, right, personalized customer service is the reason why, a brand can stand out of the rest of the people. Like I was talking about it earlier, right?
Yeah.
You cannot have canned. You have to treat your customers as at the center point when you're providing support. They cannot be just like one ticket. You should not consider them as a ticket. So a tailored customer experience differentiates the business. Connecting with customers on a personal level builds loyalty and keeps them coming back for more, right? That's what I think. Even we as individuals, we experience that day in and day out. You will always like the brands to where you are given that personal touch. So to maintain quality with regards to high personalized support at scale, there are certain things that brand must keep in mind. Okay. So first is obviously understand their customer and provide contextual information. Now, again, I talked about it. When you are dealing with a brand, you don't want yourself to repeat some things to the brand, right? Like if you have already interacted with them before, you want them to know what product you have. You don't want them to ask you every time what is your product, what is your service number, and all that, right? So that is poor experience. So this is something which is very important. So the previous touch points and interaction history that you have with the customer, right? If you give this to an agent, obviously they can serve that customer much better, because they understand what has been his journey so far and what they can help to, like how they can resolve his issue faster. Okay. So and obviously, there are simple things that matter here, right? Even like knowing the customer or addressing the customer by name when he calls. This is a very simple thing, but that actually gives you a very personal kind of touch when you're dealing with that individual. And also he feels a bit comforted that yes, this brand knows me. He knows where I have interacted. He knows what I have purchased and all that stuff. So it is also a satisfaction for the end user. Now, obviously, the second point here would be also to be available everywhere. Obviously, as a consumer, I want to interact with brands over multiple channels, right? And I want them to support. I want to have a similar support experience across different channels and across wherever I am, right? So the flexibility to bring support directly to your customer wherever they are, this is very important. Whether it is embedded on your website or in the mobile app, live chat, or anything, right? So this elevates the experience that your consumers have with the brand. And obviously, the third point here would be to provide automation and self-service personalized to the customers. Obviously, automation, we talked about it earlier, that actually elevates the customer service to the next level. So obviously, these 3 points are important. And with this personalization, obviously, you can definitely scale your customer service and obviously the experience for your consumers while dealing with the brand.
I think there's a lot of insights, a lot of key takeaways from this little chat we have had. We could go on for an hour or an hour and a half, but I've really enjoyed this conversation. I think it's given me also a lot of insights. I've been taking notes on the side as well. So thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time for being on the 20 Minute Mode podcast.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Jude.